Ever wish you could suggest something to Disney? We share our ideas, plus this week's hot takes. Let's bring back the magic.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.
Not gonna lie.
All right.
Not my best open.
Welcome, everyone. This episode is sponsored once again by Theme Park Chuckle. Go to themeparkchuckle.com, grab yourself a Disney humor-based t-shirt or two, such as the Disney Until I Die tee featuring the Color Splash skull with Mickey Mouse ears, of which I'm actually wearing one today. Make sure you go on Theme Park Chuckle and check them out. I've got it on here, but I actually have a different version, a different color on there, but it's a very nice shirt. Check it out there. I'm Josh.
And I'm his sister, Gina. And for those of you just joining us, welcome aboard.
Oh, yeah. And if you're just joining us, my reminder that this show is TV 14. So you younger viewers have your parents' permission before watching, although we do keep it 99.999% clean in this show. Just maybe there's occasional screw up here, so we would like you to have your parents' permission before you watch. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. How goes it there, Gina? How goes it? I like the mouse ears.
Thank you. These were from the Aldi drop today. Not a sponsor, but we're willing to take them. Aldi did a big drop today of a whole bunch of Disney merch, and their ears are only $5. And generally with my giant head, I struggle to wear Mickey ears because they're too tight on me. So
that's what it looks like. It's because your big giant head. That's why I was like, what's off?
Also, it's off because, Josh, you know what is off is the beauty filter that I normally use on our podcast visual version because I'm of a certain age. Oh, thank you. I'm of a certain age, and it just makes me feel a little better about myself. But because you told me it's making the video feed not as crisp and sharp, that I decided this week I would try and go all natural, as I say, with a face full of makeup.
And there's really no telling if that's true or not. I could have just made that up completely. That could be a complete farce. Who knows?
Which part about what you said or the filter?
About a filter taking up, like the bandwidth or whatever. I don't know. I don't know words.
It just looks fuzzy in our clips. It doesn't look as sharp. You look really sharp in our clips, video clips, and I look a little like hazier because
I can't do anything about your face. I'm just kidding. It's jokes. This is our 10th episode. Can you believe it? We've made it to 10. We'll probably be canceled by 11, but thus we made it to double digits. It's really, really exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of this with my big sister and who I love so much. Yes. And we get to talk Disney. What a great time to share as siblings.
I gotta say, and I'll go first because I decided I'm going to. Something I would love to hear from you about this being our 10th episode is now looking back, having rewatched or re-listened to, because it is a different experience. I know you agree on this, is that just listening to the audio version of our podcast, whereas watching the video gives you like two totally different vibes, not different vibes, but like a different experience for us. Like when we're just listening to ourselves, we're going to hear a different kind of critique, I think, or maybe like certain things better than when we're watching the video. But I would love to know for you, like now looking back, like what are some things you think that we've like grown in just 10 episodes, some things we've adjusted, some things we've kind of like worked out, where we've improved kind of thing.
I think just the back and forth, we've always been on, me and you. We always have a good rapport with each other. So I just feel like knowing when to give space in the conversation a little bit, maybe that's part of it. I don't want to go into technical things. I want to keep it more towards what we love about Disney. But I also do think that over time, there's things of episodes we have done, and I want to go into the whole detail of it. But like we did the Epic Universe thing, now more and more you're seeing they're creating some Disney-like magic there. And apologies to everyone out there that has that universal magic. Yeah. I feel like they're kind of punching Disney in the mouth right now, and Disney's got to do the Rocky and get up and just say we're going to finish this fight strong because, wow. I mean, there's some things. I mean, from the food to the entertainment to the rides, attractions, whatever you want to call it, it is pretty wild what Universal's done. So I will recant what I said before. I don't think they can match Disney's magic. I think they can't match it. They're actually trying to exceed it, which is kind of troubling.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I think I'm lightening up a little bit. And that's not because I didn't feel comfortable in the podcast. First of all, we got to remember, and you mentioned it before, I was overcoming neck surgery. So still dealing with a lot of pain as we started this.
No
And like,
excuses. All right.
yes, exactly. So sitting up for a long period of time was a challenge, but I think that like now, instead of thinking of us being like on a podcast, I'm getting back into the groove. Just like it's just Gina and Josh talking, which is probably why we do talk over each other. Because anyone who knows our family knows that like we're listening for those gaps in breath. It's like double Dutch. I always say like double Dutch jump rope. You're like waiting for that moment you can jump in. Like that's it. We do listen to each other mostly, as we've learned, but I do.
Oh,
think
wait a minute. We listen to each other.
As I said, mostly.
There's certain podcasts where you're like, I wasn't listening.
I said mostly. See, you weren't listening because I said mostly.
Yeah, but I don't like that.
But I agree with you 100%. A perfect example of where the evolution will come for us for any topic we're talking about. There may be things that we say one episode and then over time our opinion changes. That's why we're always interested in hearing other people's takes on things. But I do agree that one of our big stances in the beginning about Epic was like, yeah, we know they can create the theme park, but can they create the emotional connection? And I gotta say, just like you said, kind of recant that we haven't been there. But seeing people's responses, they are feeling a magic and an emotional. And you know where I really think that comes from, Josh? I do think it's not even as much about the IPs, is I do think, and we have said this, the magic comes from what you feel the people that made that park feel about you. So Disney's magic wasn't necessarily always Peter Pan magic or Cinderella magic. It was the idea that when you went there, you felt the energy of a place that was like, to all who come to this happy place, welcome. Like, we want you all here, like dream the dream with us. Like that, I think, is what creates it. And that is what Epic is doing over Disney right now. You know, so like, again, that's a topic I'm sure we can expand on fully in another podcast, but it does kind of lead into, and I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself because I feel like we're probably doing hot takes first, according to your list that I always forget to like look at in depth. But is that this episode of Dear Disney, like, hey, we're always looking out for you guys. We're always looking out for the mouse. We want to say, like, these are the things that we think could be really great, you know?
Oh, no, we know they have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I think there is a lot of growth over the first 10 episodes. I love the comments from people. People have been very supportive of our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you because that means the world to us. It really does. And like, we're not doing this for fame and fortune. We're doing it for the love. If that comes, great, by the way. I'm not pushing that away, but we're not doing it for that purpose. We're doing it for the love of Disney, and we will always love and care about Disney. And we just want certain things to maybe be done a little bit better. With that being said, let's go into this week's hot takes. Gina, I know you have a hot take you've been dying to share because you're the one mentioned wanting to do hot takes on this show.
Yes,
so,
much like my Stitch opinion that I know is polarizing that I shared before. There are also plenty of people that agree with me, and I've heard from them all. But this is my hot take this week. I don't think the Frozen ride is good at all. Like, I think that ride is awful. Like, I really do. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead to when we do our next Let It Ride. Love the Ride, Let It Die. I don't get when people I feel like it's phoned in. I feel like they had no idea that Frozen was going to blow up the way it did. And they said, hey, where can we stick a Frozen ride really fast? Okay, we'll make it like.
Do you think they should have just let it go?
Yeah. But I just feel like when I get on it, I think the queue is cute. But when you get on it, there's no part of that ride that I think is like, ooh, even the big Elsa scene. One, we both know when it was the Maelstrom, that was so much cooler when the trolls sent you backwards and you thought, remember, you were going to go backwards over the waterfall. I feel like that scene just feels like, hey, we're going to stick Elsa in this giant room, fill it in with some projections, and then she's going to sing. And it's like, it just feels so overnight to me. And I get it. It's a hot take. There are people that love it. There are people that somehow waited 5 hours for it when it opened. But to me, I could skip it every single time I'm there because especially having seen what like Tokyo Disney has for Frozen and that Elsa that like, the Anna that like goes from being frozen to like her body like literally like melts down into a normal, it's incredible. But I just think that ride sucks.
That is a pretty cold take on Frozen.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I do.
So you'd rather tricky trolls than
I would.
Old frigid lady singing "Let It Go." Okay, I got you.
I wasn't married to the Maelstrom either. I do think it was more like
the Maelstrom because there was a shorter line, and I like Nordic culture.
But it was authentic culturally, like much more made sense there. But I just feel like they thought, oh my God, we got to put a Frozen ride in. This is a quick place we can do it. and it just like the boat bangs into the sides, and it's just like there's no scene that I go, oh, I love this scene. It feels like what they did with Figment when they realized like, oh, this ride sucks, so we got to add Figment back into it, and he just looks like he was plopped into little places. This ride feels like a lot of plop.
Fair enough. I like it. All right. My hot take for this week, and Gina will already know this to begin with. I'm talking to you viewers out there and listeners. It is better to take Ubers on Disney property than it is to use Walt Disney World transportation. Maybe the only thing outside of like, like the buses, maybe like the ferry or the boats or something like that. If you're going to a certain hotel that's across the water for Magic Kingdom, you can do that. But you will enjoy way more of your trip if you take an Uber to the park. The only one not to do it to is Magic Kingdom, because the only one you can take is a minivan, and you will bring you to the front of Magic Kingdom. Otherwise, it's the transportation ticket center. They'll take you, but it will save you so much time. I like staying at Old Key West, one of the DVC resorts, because it's like a normal home away from home, but like the rooms are a lot bigger. I enjoy that with DVC. I can call an Uber. It comes right to the front of that, picks us up, and we're at the park within minutes, especially like Hollywood Studios. You go to Epcot, all these things. You don't have to walk to the bus stop, worry if you're going to be standing or sitting. Most of the Disney buses now have less seats. Like it's more scooter friendly than it is just normal old average Joe kind of getting onto this bus. I mean, it is not like conducive to having people sit. I feel like the old school buses, where they had the two seats, sat more people.
I do think that's probably not just a scooter issue. I think that may also accommodate larger guests better, because if you are like a larger person, the size of like the seats that were back to back, like rows, like you're talking about, like that's a tight squeeze to put people in, sorry. I will say, though, this is a debate between you and I all the time about the transportation, because I feel like the transportation is part of the whole experience.
I do enjoy the Disney bus, but I'm saying if you're trying to make the most of your vacation, especially this is a pro tip for a first time Disney person, take the bus the first couple times you go to one of the parks. After that, just Uber to the parks, because you're going to save yourself at least about an hour to between 1 and 2 hours a day. When you're waiting, traveling, and all that stuff when it comes to the Disney bus. I'm telling you right now, and math's on it, okay?
But math, financially, it's free.
If you budget about $40 a day, okay, $40 a day. Most people pay way more per person for the what is it, the Disney meal stuff and everything else.
Dining plan.
Yeah, the dining plan. Thank you. I'm words. So most people pay more, but I'm saying if you really want to get the most out of it, you're already spending a fortune. What's another budgeting a few $100s or whatever for your trip to get everywhere and have more time at the parks? Because honestly, like it's an ease kind of thing for me, and I stick with it. Everybody's like, you taking the buses? If it's there, if it's not, I'm Ubering. Sorry, because I'm always a person that also gives up my seat on the bus if there's an elderly person, mother with child. I feel like that. So I know I'm going to stand on this thing regardless. I'd rather be comfortable. So
it definitely depends what time of year you're going. It definitely depends like what your actual financial situation is, obviously, because there's some people $40 a day is not something that they want to spend on transportation.
Maybe just take one way and say $20.
Yeah, but I get it. I understand where you come from. I only ever do that when I'm with you on a trip. Like on any other trip, I'm just riding the transportation. But I'm not saying that you're not correct about it saving a lot of headaches. Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely can, especially when you're on a bus that has got to stop at another resort or is coming from another resort, which means that it's going to be full. And that's tough, especially with our mom and everything. Not everybody's always going to be willing to give up a seat, or, and you've got your kids tired at the end of the night and there's nowhere for them to sit. So it can be a challenge, but it is a hot take, but I don't think that there's not a ton of people that might agree with you on that. I'm just not one of them. Just kidding.
I also feel like people don't understand Disney bus etiquette and things like that too. As far as it's just like, I feel like the society as a whole has just been like, forget you, buddy. Just go and do whatever you got to do. I'm like, I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to do this kind of stuff. People not watching their kids, or there's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the main topic for this episode, which is Dear Disney. Okay, Dear Disney. It's basically what our requests of them are. Okay, our suggestions to Disney. If we could make a request, a suggestion, something, what would it be? Gina, do you want to start us off with the first Dear Disney?
I'm going to go with a first one that I think is probably a popular take, and that's Dear Disney, do something with Wonders of Life. Because first of all, a couple years ago, not that long ago, you promised us that we were getting this awesome play pavilion, which for what I've said before about Epcot not being as kid friendly as the other parks, there's not as many things that really, draw kids in. Having that play pavilion would have been such a cool concept of something for them. And it's just sitting there. Like even they were painting the roof a couple years ago. Like, did you see that? Those videos where it was like, I'm trying to think of the name of that really cool. I gotta look it up. It's on X, but it's that account that like does all the drone footage and they're always showing like really cool, like overhead shots of Disney construction. And but they were showing that they were repainting the roof on it. And it was like they gave us all these promises and spec drawing. So I feel like it's a waste that pavilion is just sitting there. Dear Disney, do something with it because we need more in Epcot attraction wise.
No, I agree with that too. I also think, did I say tink? Tink, come on, we should be doing this on the podcast. Apparently I just say random things now.
Now,
anyway, I really think that one of the things is bar times. So whether it's Boardwalk or Disney Springs, I feel like things close earlier than they should, especially for people really vacation. I'm not saying make another Pleasure Island type thing. What I'm saying is realize there's adults that might want to stay out past a certain time. If you're going to close things around 11 or 12, I'm like, it used to be pretty much the thing was 2 a.m. for a lot of places. And now it feels like you can't go to the Boardwalk, drink it like Abracadabra or something. And even like there's nowhere that's, I guess, adult friendly in that manner where you can go out and unwind. Because when you're taking care of your kids all day and you're kind of, you're kind of spent, but you're like, man, I could use a cocktail or just some adult conversation. It doesn't have to be a drink either. Just somewhere that's open, you can get away from your kids and you don't have to sit in the lobby. Dear Disney, please extend some times for certain bar, restaurant kind of things, and maybe add something else, adult attraction, not like Geo 82 or whatever but that's my first one, I'd say.
Yeah. It's a tough thing when it comes to the bar topic because it's definitely another polarizing thing because I've seen how many people on social are pissed about the Grand Floridian getting that lobby bar. Like people are like, they're going to destroy the vibe of the lobby. And I'm like, well, what are you doing in the lobby? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? I think people hear bar and they think like rowdy and not necessarily. Like there's plenty of places like I think that you can have a bar. But I agree with you. Things close way too early for the adults.
Well, Disney Springs, the max it's open, so it's like 11:30.
Well, you and I, where we live, everything closes at 9. So it is a vacation.
I don't go out here. It sucks. Hold on. TV 13.
Okay. I feel like this is something I have mentioned before, but I'm going to revisit it. Dear Disney, I would like to see a better Ratatouille merch shop, but I would like to see you including the Anton Ego wine. I think that would be really cool, but I really do think just cookware in general. I saw an ad today, some company I never heard of, that was like our Ratatouille cookware. And I was like, oh, cool. So I went on and like a baby Dutch oven, so like small, like this big, is like $215. And I was like, okay, that's not what I'm looking to spend. So yeah, exactly. No, thank you. But I do think things like that would go like sell really, really well. And I think that area is nice, but could have a little bit more.
I like the wine bottle idea. I really do think that's a miss because that's branding at its finest. Yeah. So if you have an opportunity like that, especially for Disney, that's that Disney magic though. If you go in, when they first put in like Once Upon a Vine and all, we thought that was cool. Like when you had that, you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of on theme. It's not like great wine, but it's like, it's on theme for Disney. But they need more things like that. And France is a good one. I mean, they do serve alcohol in Be Our Guest as well. So you could have something in there. You could do something with them as far as make some kind of Bell-like wine or whatever else. You can basically white label anything you want just for Disney on property purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can go through, it's like people make custom labels for something like, oh, here is your, Bell, whatever, Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems like she'd be a Riesling, though. I think that she would be a little bit more of a Riesling.
I think Belle would be a rosé.
All right, you win. Whatever. Whatever. That was better. I was thinking there was a connection somewhere in there. And I'm like,
Or
oh,
just a red. I mean, a red even too would work because
ah,
a red.
whatever. I hate
Okay.
this show. Anyway,
So
okay.
your turn. Your turn.
So me, you know what I think they need? Dear Disney, you need a Star Wars hotel. Okay? You need a Star Wars hotel. Hear me out.
They do need to do something.
I know the Galaxy Star Cruiser did not fly. But if you had just gone and made that an exact,
It did not fly.
yeah,
I love it.
see what I did there? Unintentionally
did.
too.
I
So if you just did the hotel and said, this is just a hotel,
Yeah.
charge a lot per night anyway, but you could have maintained it as a hotel. The fact it didn't do anything was because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
And
Price
you
people out.
couldn't stay there multiple nights.
Was the
People
food
would go
included in
to
that
some-
like a cruise? Because I know they kind of priced it like a cruise experience. Was food
But it was
included?
2 nights.
No, I get that. It was definitely out of
Nobody
ridiculous
goes on a
price.
cruise for 2 nights. And there's people that absolutely love it. I'm sure the experience is phenomenal.
I meant cruise pricing, like you price a hotel based on all things that come with it. I didn't mean
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was the right price point. So did the
I don't
food
really
come
know
with
what
it?
they honestly include because I'm pretty sure you're still paying for a lot of things, much like cruising. And this thing's like was really expensive. But I feel like they could hit a home run if they did an actual Star Wars theme hotel and you went there. You could, I know they're saying doing something with offices in like in the Halcyon or something, but you could reopen that even though they took a big write off for it. Like, oh, guess what? It's open now.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun. So, dear Disney, you still could do that kind of thing, or Marvel, do something in there.
I mean, it is such a shame to think how much went into that and all the hype that was behind it. And it was just, now it's just sitting there. Like, I mean, Disney just really is content to just let things just sit. Like
I feel like they just, I feel like it's a lazy mentality right now. And as much as we love Disney, and it's like, again, we say things on this podcast most people in Disney podcasts will not say because they're worried about, oh, they're not going to let us back in the park. We love it. It would break my heart if you didn't let me back in there. Yes. Says John. My name is not Josh.
Right. For those on Spotify, we're covering our faces.
We say things because they need to be said.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that tough love mentality of letting somebody know that you've got competition. And right now, again, from an immersive standpoint, when you're in the parks, Epic is winning on Disney right now because they've created something and a lot of on-brand things and a lot of experiential stuff that Disney is falling short on. So I know not to bleed into another Disney versus Universal kind of conversation, but I've actually, like we heard in the beginning, I've actually flip-flopped my stance on things where I'm actually looking forward to going to Epic Universe. I was going to go regardless, but now I'm really looking forward to it because I'm like, wow, look at the food, look at the drinks, look at the merch, look at all that kind of stuff. And it really does. And I'm going to go into my next thing, even though I've already gone. Is that okay? I'm going to do 2 in a row. Since I said merch, that's the other thing is better merch.
That's
the
on my
internet,
list
too. The
That's on my
internet
list.
has better merch. Okay. Look, I'm wearing a theme park chuckle shirt and I like it because it's a skull and I like skulls. It's easier to find something that you like from somebody on Etsy or from a mom and pop shop than it is to find it on, Disney Shop. You go on there and you're like, oh, the Disney store, I'm trying to find these things and you just can't. You have to get things custom, but they're missing opportunities for a company that makes a ton of money that and you have to pay a ton to get the product. The thing is, it's not just the fact they can make it whatever price. You're good. They're going to make money. They know we're buying at prices on the internet for, let's say it's a less than $20 t-shirt. Okay. Disney will probably sell that t-shirt for almost $40 or something, and people will pay it if they were the ones that have it. They'll be like, oh, it's official Disney. It's just a miss. And I think the better merch would be a huge step in the right direction. They've copied off some things here and there.
I was going to say some of their best merch is them ripping off small shops. Like when there was all the shirts about snacks and stuff, that was something that was small shop first. Oh, remember when small shop started doing the buttons, like the versions of like the Disney buttons to say I'm celebrating this, but people started doing like funnier versions. I bought one for everybody in our family on the one trip, and mine was Cinderella.
I was celebrating Dole Whips, I believe.
Mine said, "Help me, I'm poor," and it was Cinderella in her ripped dress. But that is absolutely on my list. So it's kind of perfect that you skipped me, and that was your answer,
All right,
but
did I get to go again? Okay.
no, you don't. But I'm agreeing with you. And on that note, I will say this doesn't count as my turn, but on that note, expanding what characters they do the merch on. Like there's
Oh, okay.
so many great characters, and that's another reason small shops are so great because they do point out, and this is what I would love. Let me just put one that's not on my list, but really is the tone of my whole list. Who is Disney consulting when they make these big decisions? Like who? It's kind of like when you think about like, when people would say like, oh, when a man is designing for a woman's brand and da da da, like who are they asking? Or they're asking older people about what younger people like. Like who is Disney asking?
It
That's what I
sounds
want
like
to know.
it sounds like the government now.
Right? Yeah,
Like,
but like
let
who
a
are they
900-year-old man tell everybody when they're
Right.
20s what they need to
You
do.
you know that I have said in the past that Disney used to send a survey after every single visit, and they sent out other surveys that they were trying, and you don't see that now, and it's making me wonder. Like when I see the decisions they make, I go, I'd love to be in that room. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, or even just a quiet person in the corner, even though we know I don't know how to do that. But sit in the corner and just be like, I want to hear the brainstorming. Like certain things where you see a decision made and you go, it doesn't shock me as much that one person came out with that idea. It shocks me how many people like got on board with it and were like, yes, let's make this happen. Like when you see some controversial decision a company makes or something, and you're like, that many people green lighted this. So like with Disney, I would love to know, like, who are you consulting? Are you bringing in and I know there's influencers everywhere. So is it the influencers are asking? I don't know. That doesn't seem, are they watching? Like you and I talk about, Disney should have a dedicated person who just spans social, not to post, just to read and go, what are people
Well,
saying about this?
it's a
What are people
social
saying?
miner, basically, and you go
Yeah.
through and you kind of get those things. You remember
Yeah.
the comedian Lewis Black?
Yeah.
When he's like, it's like people get together. He's like, I got a really bad idea, and he's like, I can make it crappier. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
is that who's sitting around
I don't know.
and discussing things when they're like, here, let's make a new project? I feel like the one thing Disney has in their arsenal that's the biggest thing is the amount of IPs, like the
Yeah.
amount of things from the Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney catalogs of just endless characters. It seems like it
Mhm.
is ridiculous, and like you can build and develop anything with those, and it's got to be easy. But you were talking about like the Frozen ride in Tokyo. What is that, like Fantasy Springs or something? That stuff is
Incredible.
amazing, and that's because
Or Winnie the
remember,
Pooh
Disney
too.
gets a profit share
Mhm.
on parks that are overseas like that, and those countries pay for the parks to be built, but they build them according to what they want.
Right.
They do not, and that's why they're better. Because I'm like, if you just take a page out of that and say, look at this group of people over here that are making these amazing parks or requests to make these things, then you bring it over in the stateside and you dumb it down. Like, why not make it more
Mhm.
grand for your mainstay parks?
Yeah.
Because Disney, you don't see Disney advertise one overseas park. When do you see that? When have you ever seen it, really? It's very few and far between. They might mention something at a D23, said, oh, coming to Shanghai, or we're building
Yeah.
something here, letting you know what Disney as a company is doing. But they
Right.
do not advertise those because they're not as profitable for Disney as, as the parks in the States.
Mhm.
Because you look at it, look at the prices. Might be $60 to get into Tokyo. It's like $60, like the admission price, where it's more than double that to get into Orlando.
I actually
And
just looked with mom at price packaging. I went on like Disneyland Paris because I really want to go next year. And so I
oh,
was looking and I was looking at the different hotels and stuff. And I went, oh, this is this much for these many nights. Da, da. And then I went, wait a minute, this includes tickets? It didn't even occur to me that the tickets were part of the price. Because looking at the price as a Disney World goer, that just felt like that's just your hotel. Like there was no part of me until I went, ooh, wait a minute. This includes my tickets for all three of us as well. Actually, it was four because I was pricing it out for
yeah,
four.
I
But
think was I going?
sure.
I feel like I wasn't counted in this original 4.
It actually was Caitlin. But you are always
Congratulations,
invited.
Caitlin. You've received your last shout out ever on this.
But you are always invited. I always want you to go everywhere. You know that. I always do.
Well, I feel like, again, when you go through and you're buying tickets for Disney, I feel like the average cost, if you're just going to buy the ticket anyway, you're going to spend $400 to $500 per person for that week for your tickets if you get something as a decent ticket where you get to do everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I do like the fact that Disney is offering more things. We'll talk about that a little bit in
Mhm.
this as well. We can
Mhm.
feel like we can insert it. Um,
Yeah.
for this year. Like they're trying to do some discounts and all. They're not succeeding really in my book in a lot of ways, but they're trying. The bigger thing I do like, even though check-in day is kind of a throwaway most of the time, they are giving you the water park on your day of check-in. Side note though, when you switch hotels, if you book multiple ones, you get 2 of them.
I was just gonna say that because I noticed that on our Disney experience because we're switching hotels this time. So I was like, oh, is this what
So if you
water
just
park?
want to go to water parks,
Yep, I was
just
gonna say
book
that.
one night at every hotel and you've gone to the water park every day. You're like, that's
Disney consult us.
just be like, we're gonna change rooms every single night and backpack this week, and we're just gonna go and we're gonna Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon it up until we're little wrinkled, pruny people, and we're full of Disney magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, fish tacos at Typhoon Lagoon, love them. Go in, go to the right. So anyway, back to this. I wanted. Did you want to throw another one in?
I'm gonna say
'Cause I
one
don't know
because
if
it's
you
not a
actually
long
said
time.
something
This
I
one I'm
wasn't
gonna
listening.
This one I'm going to say because it's not a long one to expand on. It's just pretty obvious. Why is the Mickey Mouse Club not on Disney Plus? And I'm talking like the MMC, the one from my childhood that was
The
Britney
OG one,
Spears.
like a Net Funicello
No, no,
kind of
no,
one,
no,
or
no,
like
no.
the
I said
Justin
my
Timberlake?
childhood. Very funny. My childhood. The one with Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling. I watched those. You remember, I was obsessed with Damon Pampolina. I was so in love with him when they started their group, The Party. That was a great show. It was like Saturday Night Live, basically. It was such a great variety show for kids. But why is that not on there? Because first of all, even people who weren't of my generation that watched it, would want to go back and watch it because of all the famous people that came out of that. And I'm not just talking the obvious ones. There's Carrie Russell was on there, Nikki DeLoach, who's very big on the Hallmark Channel. There's a lot of people that came out of that show.
Was
And
Meredith Baxter Burney on there?
but I'm
Very
just
big
saying
on
that's
Lifetime.
something Disney needs to have on Disney Plus. I think they would gain a lot of subscribers for it.
No, that's weird that they don't have it. I wonder if there's some kind of kerfuffle in
You
there.
can't get it
Because it's
anywhere.
the same reason, like if you look at other things that are off-brand, it's not Disney, but look at things in like with Miramax or like some other things or some Harvey Weinstein things like Dogma from Kevin Smith. You couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't streaming or anything with it because it was tangled up in the
They
Weinstein.
finally added Angels in the Outfield, though. They did finally add
Yes,
Angels.
I did see. I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones I like a lot.
Yeah.
All right. I will go through with one of mine. Let's see here.
Make that a soundbite. I'm going to place that all over social media. Bring MMC to Disney Plus.
Okay.
Oh, marker, write it down, Josh. 3217.
I'm gonna build off what you said earlier about Wonders of Life Pavilion because it was also on my list, and I figure as long as we're matching some things up, I feel, and I don't know how you feel, we know how we feel about Creation Shop and all. Like it's to me, it doesn't give it even like a Mouse Gear vibe. It doesn't give that kind of stuff. But the Connections Eatery, I feel like is number one. I feel too small. Okay, I don't think it's that big of a for really being the only giant place to eat in there. That's really like that kind of thing. I feel like what they could have done with Wonders of Life is make it like some kind of food court in there, and just you go around, not kind of like the land is, but different little sections, and you could do something fun in there. I feel like a food court, or again, like a giant bathroom. It doesn't matter. I'm all with that kind of stuff. But that's building off of yours. And because I said bathroom, here's my dear Disney. You've heard me talk about Buc-ee's. You've heard me talk about it. Their bathrooms are phenomenal. They are private. They are nice. They are clean. I feel like there's one person always working in there. It's not like it's a huge investment, Disney. Build a bathroom. You guys spend a lot of money on everything else. Build some larger bathrooms somewhere. The one I would say that's like next to Space Mountain in Magic Kingdom. It's like kind of like behind like when the People Mover. That one's a decent size. So if nature calls, you need to go somewhere again, maybe TMI for most people. But I'd rather be somewhere comfortable and nice and not like where you're trying to go and you're like, oh, is there somebody in here? And there's a line forming outside and all these things. I mean, I get there's a lot of people in the parks, but it doesn't need to look like the baseball stadium or football stadium you go to where it's the men's room line or the women's line at like any stadium in the US. They're just trickling in the outside. It should be where you have enough space. I mean, there's enough space on that property in different places. You could put something that's a lot larger. Because I feel like it's just like they don't accommodate for the amount of people in there. Plus, when you're going around somewhere like Epcot and people are drinking and they're like, "Oh, I gotta use the restroom. Granted, it's a little harder there because it's every country to country. There's some decent ones along the way, but stick with me for tips on where to pee in the.
I actually saw a TikToker who made, or maybe it was on Instagram Reels, but made a video about best places to poop, and he like rated like the best places to poop in Disney.
I've seen that. I had that idea a long time ago.
I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember what the number one was, but okay. Here's one.
They always say the one, the Journey in Imagination. It's probably behind there because a lot of people have
and the American Adventure bathroom's pretty decent too. I don't know if that's great to poop. I've never pooped in Disney World, but
there's a lot of poop talk on this podcast. Welcome to our Disney podcast.
TV2, number 2.
TV 14, now TV 2.
I would like to say this was not an idea I came up with, but I do think it's something worth revisiting. Is an Aladdin hotel. Remember they talked about a long time ago, that was one. Yeah. That was one that was on like, I was like in the planning stages. They had it all specced out and everything. And it was on the Magic Kingdom side was where it was going to be. And I would love to see something like that. I think that's a cool concept for a hotel. I don't really feel like there's anything.
I want to build off of that with you because I feel like it ties in, not to interrupt, but I don't care.
That's fine.
So hotels. cold blood.
10 episodes in, we're really good at not interrupting each other, guys.
I'm getting it. Look at me, I'm getting it. Yeah, so I feel the same way about a Haunted Mansion hotel or a Tower of Terror-esque kind of hotel. I love the fact if Tower of Terror was somewhere I would love to go there because I actually love that style of hotel.
I would never ride an elevator.
But it's just that style, that 1920s, 1930s, whatever you want to call it.
I do agree.
Like, that kind of vibe. I think that'd be awesome on Disney property. Yeah. I feel like this could be also runs in with hot takes and all. The more fun resorts are the value resorts that Disney has in there, especially if you have kids. What 8-year-old wants to stay at the Grand Floridian? What 8-year-old wants to stay at, you're like, oh, here, I really hope we're at the Contemporary because I want to sit in I'm going to be in the Bay Lake Tower. There's nothing on brand with Disney as far as Mickey, Minnie. These things are Chef Mickey's. You can go in there, but okay, you're going to pay for the most expensive.
I think kids like that the monorail goes through there. That's pretty much the extent, or the fact that
maybe these are bad examples. Maybe they're horrible examples, but what I'm saying is if you go to Art of Animation, and that's moderate, really, to be honest with you. It's not so much that Art of Animation, Pop Century, all the all-star resorts, those things. You look at where these big grandiose statues and everything of the characters these kids love, and they feel like the food courts are better too. I mean, they have to house a lot more people, but I feel like it doesn't get the love it should. And people are like, oh, I've heard people saying, I won't out people on the podcast that are friends of ours who are like, they'll know who I'm talking about when they hear the podcast because I know they listen. But when you're looking to book a room somewhere like, oh, it's the All-Star Resort, I don't know if I want to stay there because it's more like the value kind of thing. It's still a great hotel. Yeah. You're not staying at the Motel 6 with like roaches or something, or the one I stayed at Cocoa Beach that had a hole in the door. Probably from the last murder.
That was terrifying. I was worried for you, Josh. You said that snap.
Good news is I did have a beer opener on the sink in the bathroom in case I was drinking my beer while hiding from whoever was shooting through the
fridge and microwave, your little baby fridge and microwave were right by the front door. The microwave just sitting.
It was probably hiding a hole in the wall. That's probably stuck in the fridge over there.
Yeah, I will say this though, Josh. On that note,
I'll have to Google review.
On that note,
lady at the front desk was super nice.
I do also recognize that there are a lot of people, and maybe I'm included in that group, that doesn't want every hotel to be dripping with IPs. They do say, this is a vacation that I love. I'm spending a lot of money to stay at the boardwalk or to stay at the Grand Floridian, and I'm not really looking for giant statues of Disney characters because they're not thinking like in that mindset. They're thinking we'll go to the parks and that's where the kids will get the kiddie things, but when we're back at the hotel, we kind of want that luxury experience. So I think there's something to be said on both ends of it, like, because I know what I love about the Grand Floridian is they have been very subtle in their introduction of IPs in there. Like, I was actually just talking to Mom about this yesterday, I think, about how like Mary Poppins in Citricos is a very elegant touch of that. Obviously, Enchanted Rose is not like big cartoony Beauty and the Beast. It's very subtle and elegant because I just saw the Disney Food blog posted today that the walls are up for the construction of the bar that's going in the lobby in the Grand. But they also have big construction walls up blocking the Garden View tea room. So everyone's like, what is going in there? Because they literally have walls where you can't see in it at all. It's not like a little don't go in there, but like walls with doors and everything.
The tea room.
I miss it so much. You know that. But I'm wondering.
Remember, I got points. I have points at Grand Floridian. I love the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get to the Magic Kingdom.
And the DVC building, that they got the Mary Poppins, like the little penguin, like water or fountain and everything.
DVC is not on their game though over in that building. The little lackluster from the magic standpoint of the people that work there, because there's not a whole lot of at that.
But to building. That note, on your wish of like more like big, I do think if you want that, then you should go stay over at like Art of Animation. I said this on a podcast before. I'd love to take Mozzie to stay there because I do think that he would really love that. That is a very like kid experience. But sometimes I think adults are like, okay, the parks, kids, you get that there, but we want to have a nice hotel to stay in that's kind of like a little more adult. I don't know. That's just my take on that.
I think it's also it's a good take. I think also like the movie themed restaurants. Okay, like a Dear Disney movie themed restaurants. I know there's Tony's in Magic Kingdom. There's
that's why I love sci-fi. The theming of sci-fi, even though it's not an IP, I love that.
Okay, menu is middle of the road and maybe to the lower end of the road, but I think that burp. I think. Sorry,
look, you're asking me. You couldn't feel it.
I don't know. I've had a day. It's been a day. I feel from the aesthetic. That is the best aesthetic restaurant
sci-fi
on Disney property. Yes.
100%.
I feel like the theming and from everything going into it, you don't get much better than that in there. There's some ones that maybe come to a like close. Oh, this is neat. You get like the Woody's Roundup barbecue and everything where they have stuff.
Coral Reef is a cool one, even though I never enjoy eating there, but that's a really cool looking
They've got some cool restaurants. Same thing with Space 220.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's very, very cool. But I feel from that one, from everything, from a nostalgic feeling, from that Disney magic, I feel like that still captures something.
There all day.
It still tracks to this day. Yeah. I just don't really love the menu to go in there and be like, look, if nobody else wants to eat here, I've been in there. I think, are we eating there the next trip?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're gonna love it.
I love it. That's my favorite.
I will say though, that's actually a good point though, Josh. So theming wise, right? That really feel like you're somewhere when you're doing it. I do think Space 220 does a great job of feeling like transported, like the whole process. That's very cool Disney theming. That's on brand with them. Sci-fi. I love it. I would be devastated if they ever took that out. Devastated. I love that place so much because you know me, I'm a 50s and 60s is like so my vibe. I love it. I love that restaurant. I don't even care if the food sucked. I want to go there just for the experience. But you know what the other one would be San Angel Inn, because that's another one that when you're eating inside, it's outside and you feel like you're like outside in Mexico and the little boats going by. That's another great like vibe.
And for everybody watching that or listening, that's San Angel, but Gina says it the proper way. I do not.
But that's a really cool. But that's so funny is that now any one of those are an IP though. Like none of those are a Disney IP, but they're all really well themed restaurants, and we love them.
So I think Beauty and the Beast, like you've got Be Our Guest, is a movie themed. Tony's
Cinderella,
Lady and the Tramp. It's those kind of things, but really not even that heavy into it.
Right.
You've got Cinderella's Royal Table. You got things, but I feel like there could be other things done just from any kind of Disney property and make some cool restaurants based on IPs.
I agree, because Connections, angers me. And I know that's a quick service. It angers me. That goes into my next thing on the list, Josh, which is Disney theming and cohesion. Dear Disney, what happened? Dear Disney, I love you. I say this again. I cannot stress enough. We are only saying these things because we love Disney. This isn't a Disney trash cast. This isn't somebody that's like, Disney. We love Disney. This is like trying to shake somebody in your family and have an intervention with them and be like, I love you. I love you so much. I'm trying to save you. And the cohesion, we know, again, I've talked about it, what the F happened to Future World. It is now these weird little neighborhoods that make no sense, they don't even make sense to what they're named to. Like World Nature maybe is the only one that makes any sense.
That's disjointed as hell.
It's disjointed. It's like the layout is disjointed. It doesn't even flow. It used to be such a beautiful flow with those fountains, and you walked in and it was so easy to navigate. And then you have connections and creation, which could not, thank God they didn't call it creative, because I'd be even more angry, because there's nothing creative about either of those names. They make no sense. They fit in no theme. They fit in no box.
You paved paradise and put up a Starbucks.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even care what they were serving in there. The name bothers me more, but the look also. Like, mom still can't stand what they did to World of Disney down in Disney Springs. I will say I like the layout better, because it was always hard to find people if you got lost from them in that store before. It was like, what room are they in? And you'd be chasing each other like a cat chasing its tail.
Because it was kind of like almost like a wagon wheel. Like,
it was
kind of
very
like
hard to find people if you lost them. But
I lose people everywhere.
But the theming is lost. You know what I mean? Now it's just very this brand of like vanilla.
Do you remember the old commercial for it in a Disney store the size of a football field?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
So I do think that it's not just Future World that has suffered from the lack of cohesion. It's also Hollywood Studios. I know, because they say, oh, it's Hollywood Studios, so we're just going to make like different little lands. And it doesn't play off the same way Magic Kingdom having different lands works. It just feels like a lot of hodgepodge to me. And when you were talking about restaurants, it made me think of how much more I loved Brown Derby when it was MGM. Nothing has changed in the restaurant, but because you were in that mindset of I'm a Hollywood starlet back in the day, and I'm walking through this active movie set, in the studio lot, and this feels like, oh, now we're going to the Brown Derby. It's like, it feels so real. And now it just kind of feels like not the same.
Still, that Cobb salad is fire.
It is.
As the kids say. That's
but
fire.
I'd say the theming and cohesion of everything is something Disney used to nail back in the day. And now I feel like it's
apparently the Brown Derby. I think that's actually where the Club 33 is above it for Hollywood Studios. The Club 33 location, I believe, is above the Brown Derby. So if you're around there, look for the entrance.
And bring us with you.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody is in Club 33, because my father kind of screwed us from getting into it.
Blaming Dad.
Interviewing ladies that he said inadvertently, and it was not meant to be that way. He was just giving her a diet tip, and I was like, that comes off a little bit bad. But I feel like that's why. But if you are a Club 33 member, please take me up there. I've always wanted to go. I love Disney, and I'd love to see it. I have some friends, maybe one of our friends I know that's been to probably have on the podcast at some point. She's awesome, and she might be able to tell us a little bit about it, unless they swear you to secrecy or something like that.
Can I make a request that you probably are going to tell me no? Can we just take this episode to an hour, since it's our 10th episode, and not cut it right here timing wise?
Yeah,
it's only a little bit left, just because I'm really enjoying this topic. I know we will revisit it. We said Dear Disney is an ongoing topic of like, hey, Dear Disney, we thought of this, blah, blah. We are giving these ideas away for free, Disney. You're welcome.
All right. So on to the next thing then.
Okay.
I would say, let's see, more discount benefits of being a pass holder.
That's on my list.
So
BBC
Tables in Wonderland was a big thing. Like, you had to pay for it. Because remember, they were like, oh, Tables in Wonderland used to be, as my voice cracks, used to be $100. Okay. What it would be is you would take it, it would give you 20% off of your restaurant bill, including alcohol. So basically, when you got your bill, you give them that, you just tip what the normal bill was. It'd be a 20% kind of thing. So you just tip basically what it was.
They added the tip on, though. They always would add like 18%.
Yeah, they'd take it off and they'd add on 18. So basically be the same as the bill you got, but you'd be saving money, sans tip, whatever.
We loved it.
I remember when I went to get it, I got it the one year. I was like, okay, got it. Went to get it again. They're like, oh, the price went up a little bit. And I go, now it's $150. That's not a little bit. That's a 50% hike. Yeah. I go, literally. But they usually give you, like, remember the old like admission cards that they had? Like they had like the little floppy whatever cards they would give you. If you called them afterwards, they would send you a hard card for tables. I remember everybody was looking at mine. It's like, how'd you get a hard card? I'm like, because I called the number. They sent me the actual plastic one, which was nice. Right. But I feel like they should have things like that. As a pass holder, now they're doing things like 40% off at certain restaurants nobody went to. So they're like, listen, it's a win-win for us. Nobody's going to this restaurant.
It's such a random list. Like, I tried to look and say, because we're going to be there during those days. And I thought, you know what? Josh has got a car. If it's somewhere over to resort, let's go. And it was just like nothing that grabbed me.
Like Tusker House, which isn't awful.
Tusker House is fine because we're going to be at Animal Kingdom anyway. But like, it was like boat rights, which again, nothing against boat rights. But it was just these places that I was like, nah, that's just not it doesn't feel like a perk when you're doing something specifically for your own benefit. When you're saying, hey, this restaurant's not getting a lot of like action, so we'll give you it feels very like
Yeah.
meh.
Well, the thing is, I feel like the merch stuff, it's you give you 20% off. It's they could push that. I know they have done it before. Push it up a little bit. You're going to be spending money anyway. It's a lot for the pass and
Yeah.
only giving you money, so it's not like it's going to do anything else.
Mhm.
But you could have some other little hidden benefits to it.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't do enough with it for the price. They keep jacking up the price and
Mhm.
not really expanding the benefits. And
And
it's
they
not
took
all
away
about
Memory Maker. They took away the photo pass thing. Now you got to pay for that. And
yeah,
that's
that
dumb.
doesn't make sense.
That's like
That
another
doesn't make sense. Well, the
$100.
same thing goes into it's a kind of a two-part kind of thing. I know I talk a lot, but the DVC stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, DVC
So our
purchases.
list, people, by the way, Josh and I did not confer on our list before this. We wrote our list separately and then came into this. So it's
Yeah.
so telling that our lists are so similar.
That's what we think alike. So the
Mhm.
DVC purchases, whether the resale or direct, should carry the same discount perks. And because what happens now currently, if anybody's not familiar with DVC, which is Disney Vacation Club, if you're listening to our podcast, you're 10 episodes in, I'm pretty sure you know most about Disney, or we've filled you in a little bit, I hope.
Yeah.
But Disney Vacation Club, you can purchase directly from Disney. It's a timeshare. Disney, spoiler alert, Disney does not run a credit check on you. Then they require a down payment for financing. I mean, it is a extremely long process when you first get into it. They go through all the normal motions of signing onto a timeshare, but the down payment and the interest on it, the APR on this stuff is pretty high if you're going to finance through Disney. But Disney doesn't have to run a credit check because basically what they're doing is they're selling you air. They're selling
Yeah.
you nothing. So if you don't pay for the nothing, they take the nothing back and they still have your money. So really, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, oh, I hope I can qualify. It really doesn't matter. They're not going to run any kind of check on you as long as you can pay a
Yeah.
down payment and
Mhm.
get in there. Um,
Because there's nothing to repossess. You know what I mean?
yes.
It's kind of like my
So
propane company. They were
you
like,
can buy
oh,
from them. Best place to do
Mhm.
that, by the way, is Disney Cruise. They usually have a lot of
I was going
great
to say
deals
that.
going on. If you go on the Disney Cruise, best place to
Mhm.
buy if you're already spending money to begin with Disney. They'll usually give you some nice free gifts, and they got some stuff on board that makes it fun to
And
purchase
fun
while you're
people. Their
on board.
people are great. The
Oh
cruise
yeah, Doug is
Disney
who
people
we
are awesome.
last person I
Yeah.
purchased from. He's great. Shout
Yeah.
out to Doug
We
at
went to see them
DVC.
every single day on our last cruise. We just go
Yeah,
to the
they give you
DVC.
something every day. If you're a DVC member
Yeah.
on the Disney Cruise, they'll give you something each and every day. And there's a lot of
And
cool
you
little
don't have to have used your points for the cruise to be eligible for that.
yeah,
It's just your
exactly. And they
DVC
have
for
little member stuff on
parties
there
and
as well.
stuff. Yeah.
But you can buy directly from Disney, or you can buy from a reseller, and they're reselling people's contracts you've already purchased from Disney. What happens is you're buying that contract, you own it, you're paying dues to Disney. So regardless of who you get it through, you're going to be paying dues. I'll give you an example. Like I pay monthly, and my dues for my points I have in one thing are like probably a couple $100 a month. Just so you figure for the year, you're paying probably nearing $2,500 for the year just in dues
Mhm.
to maintain your points. And anybody who gets it, depending on the amount of points you get, are still paying money into Disney, whether they're going or not. And they've already paid money into these points. That's an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, it's like you're paying anywhere from $20,000 and up, usually most people, to get stuff, and it can go into hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
But I feel like those things, no matter who it is, they were taking benefits away from people that were reseller, and they're also not letting people use it at every resort. They're saying, okay, you bought resale, you can only book at these, and any more resorts come down the road, you can even book at them. I feel like they want to keep the money in their pocket, but their money's going to be there in anyway. And then these other, they're for 50 years. Now, some of these things are going to start coming up for renewal in the next X amount of years. So
Mhm.
nobody's seen that yet. Nobody's seen what a renewal.
There
for
was
these
some
is.
resort that did a one-time point like extension or something. I
Mhm.
think it might have been even Old Key West that did. I saw somebody talking about it in a Disney forum that they were like, "Oh, they did that one time extend your contract." I think.
Yeah.
And look,
But that's
fact check me on that because
the
I'm
point
not.
of this. And I know I'm droning, but the point of this
No, I'm
is
with
it
you.
should carry the same benefits
Yes.
as anything else because you're still on Disney property. You're spending every dollar with Disney, and you shouldn't be penalized for being a member. You're a member regardless. They're kind of segregating that membership, and I feel like that should be done away with. So, dear Disney, not everybody has the same pocketbook.
Yeah.
Okay, not everybody can afford to do these things, but people are taking their hard-earned money and coming to visit you. They're doing this and they're committing to that for whatever length that contract is, and also to pay every year. So kind of ease up the iron grip and let these people have a little bit more freedom with that and not make them feel like a second class citizen. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. Everybody at Disney's inclusionary, always has been inclusionary, it always will be. And it's not a political statement. It's just saying, listen, make them feel like part of the magic. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to have that magical feeling. It's not very magical when you say, I just plunked down a buttload of money, no matter who it's to go to the parks and still feel like you're not really in the club. So
And I
that's all.
think it's bogus because, like you said, it's like, okay, Disney's getting the dues. When you buy, I know there's a whole episode for us about DVC, so I won't get too much into it, but I do think it would be the equivalent of me having a car that I pay monthly payments for. And I say, hey, Josh, I'm going to sell you the car, but you got to take over the monthly payments. And you say, okay. And when I bought the car, they said for the next 50 years, you're going to get free Sirius XM. And I said, okay, you take over my payments and they take away the Sirius XM. It's like, wait a minute, he's paying off the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
Disney, give us our Sirius XM.
Right. So it's just, that's what I feel like for taking away like these discounts and things like that. It's like they bought into that contract where that was part of the promise. That's what I just think is stupid.
I get
anyway.
that. All right. So I feel like we have time for one more for you.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I can hold off and we can just get into
You can do one more. I think you can make it quick and then we can go into the rest of the thing.
Okay. I would love to see, I'm going to save some of these because they are longer ones, but I am going to say that.
All right. That one's dumb. Next. All right. This show's over.
This is a little, I would love to see, you know me, I would love to see them build a fifth gate that is all old rides that everybody loves. It will never happen, but there's so many things. And one of the first things on my list, besides obviously Horizons, we all know Horizons, we all know Great Movie Ride, we all know Mr. Toad, but I would love to see the Hunchback stage show come back. That show was one of the greatest.
The guy played Copin. Oh, it was the best.
One of the greatest live shows I've ever seen at Disney in my life.
Is the best stage show of all time. Yeah,
Ever.
when it was at MGM.
The fact that is not somewhere still. I get because it was at Hollywood.
It was on the stage behind where Muppets is, like back before they did all the different changes. It was behind Muppets.
Yeah, it was like the streets of New York, like area off of that. But I would love to see that show get resurrected somewhere. If they could bring back Magic Journeys at some point for a bit, they could bring this back. It's such a great show. And I know the new villain show's coming out. That's going to be cool and all. Beauty and the Beast, they ran into the ground. I would just love to see, because again, it's another character. I get it's kind of a darker topic, that movie. I always say, actually, I'm going to save that for another show, something. But as I was talking about, I want to do an episode.
Charlie in a bell tower. All right.
I want to do an episode where I make a list and you make a list, and then we each have to say our answers to like the same questions, because there's something in my head right now about that. So I'm going to jot that down. But I would love to see that show come back, specifically that show. It was so freaking good, because with the whole Feast of Fools and the festival, it was so like.
I like the pre-shows to that too. Like the pre-show, the guy juggling, he's like, all right, thanks for that flash photography. Now I got 3 or 6 balls and a big giant dot.
Do you know what I'm going to tell you though, is I think the next best stage show after that, and it may shock you, is the Finding Nemo one at
that doesn't shock me. That is
I love that show. I think it's so good. It's so highly underrated, but that's one where I kind of feel like you're in it. Like,
for me, I think it is Hunchback. It goes to the Nemo show and it goes to the Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah,
I think there's
absolutely.
like those 3 are the tops of what the live shows are. Now, let's see here. I want to go into our shout outs for the week. Gina, who we got? Shout out.
Okay, we've got a few this week, but one of them is going to have a little story that goes with it. So first, we want to give a shout out to a couple of people that we really appreciate the support of. One is Darby Sinclair, who's a regular listener of the show and always makes time to let us know she's been listening. So thank you so much, Darby. You know, we love and appreciate
Darby.
you.
As I call her, Stupid Darby.
We also want to give a shout out to our friend Lacey, who was one of the very first people to promote on her social media and say, go and, watch them. I have a couple more, but I'm going to save them for the next episode. So tune in, because if you're some of my social media friends, just know that I will be giving you a shout out the next episode. So that's my tie-in to get you to listen to episode 11. But this is a cool story that I will try and tell in less than a minute. So the other day, I've been waiting on the countdown for our TikTok to hit 1,000. I've been wanting it to get to 1,000. We're still not at 1,000 yet on Instagram, but we're getting there thanks to the great Disney community and all the follow events we're in and all the supportive people. Remember, follow us at BBT Magic Podcast on both of those, Instagram and TikTok. But it was 10:30 at night, Josh. I'm at our beach house, like getting ready to, like, the next day, I think, going home. And I said, let me just check our TikTok and see like what our count's at. And it was at 999. And I was so excited because I knew I was going to post. We have 999 followers, but there's always room for 1,000. So I posted on our story with the little Haunted Mansion music. And the thing you need to know about TikTok versus Instagram is on Instagram, you're only going to see someone's story if you're following them, right? You might see their post because it gets suggested or if it's sponsored, but you'll only see a story if you're following somebody. But on TikTok, it's different. You can see someone's story on your FYP, your For You page. So 10:30 at night, I post this thing. And 2 minutes later, I go and I look and I see we're at 1,001. And I'm like, oh, yay. So I go to see like, okay, who's following us? Because I always follow them back. Unless they're like an account that's not Disney at all. No offense, but I generally don't follow this back because I want my whole FYP to be Disney related. So I go and I look and I see a name of something and I'm like, oh, who was the other follower? And then I see I have an inbox message. And there's a handful of Disney creators. There's tons of Disney creators, but there's some that are just like some of my absolute favorites. And we have a message from official JVTV. Any Disney fans know who that is? That guy is so awesome.
Okay. He's awesome.
He's so
fits our
funny.
vibe.
He's so our vibe because he's like a little snarky, but he's super honest. He's really fun to watch. I love his videos so much. And he writes this really nice message that says, hey, had to get you guys to that 1,000. Love what you're doing. Appreciate the grind. Rooting for you guys. It was like in that moment, first of all, it just felt like fate. It felt like for you and me that are doing this and are really hoping we can make something of it because we really do love it and it's a passion. But knowing that our 1,000th follower was somebody that we love their content, very much fits our vibe. It was on my story. So the fact that it came up and he was one of the very first people to see it, that he literally was our 1,000th follower, he's only following 505 people and we're number 505. So thank you so much.
Nice.
But the fact that he wrote that message and I wrote him back and was like, we love your content today. He's like, I can't wait to see what you guys do next. It was just so nice. But it also just made me feel like you love when you love a creator and then they just seem like a cool person too. Because we always hear, back and forth, certain people, like everybody knows Mr. Morrow is like such a sweet guy. You always hear great things about him. And then there's some creators, I won't name, that some people say, not a great, interaction, blah, blah. But it just meant so much. And it felt like, is this a sign from the universe that our 1,000th follower?
You know what the sign was?
Official.
We have 999 happy followers. And there's always room for 1,000.
So big shout out. Thank you so much for being so cool about it. But it just felt like a sign from the universe that like that was our 1,000th follower and literally saw it a minute after I posted that on our story.
It's happy little magical things again. Magic that you find on the interwebs.
It made me really.
So that was really cool. When you sent it to me, I was like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
And I was driving when you told me about it, but that's really cool.
It just felt like a little sign from the universe, a little actual Disney magic, like you said, that was really cool. And I really appreciated that he was awesome and not just followed, but like sent that little message, just letting us know, like, it was cool. It was really cool. So appreciate it.
Well, that's awesome. Real quick, shout out to our sponsor, Theme Park Chuckle. If you go on themeparkchuckle.com, you can grab yourself this Disney Until I Die tee with a cool color splash skull and Mickey ears on it, available at themeparkchuckle.com. So give them a little check-see there. Yeah. We appreciate everybody being here for our 10th episode. It's been a lot of fun. Gina and I love to talk to each other. We could talk to each other for hours. Unfortunately, the longer that I make this podcast, the longer it takes me to edit it.
I know, but I appreciate
we don't edit the podcast, just editing the clips afterwards to go out. Yes,
I appreciate all the production work that you do going into the show, pre-production, post-production. I really do appreciate. So thank you, my brother, who I love. I love doing this with you.
Thank you for all the ideas, because without you, the show would suck.
I know we talk like we've been doing 100 episodes, but it's like to us, 10 is just as exciting. I did forget a shout out to Mr. Baltimore. You know who you are. I don't know if you're caught up to episode 10 yet, but when you get here, know that we love you and we appreciate you.
And Mr. Baltimore, aka Dad.
Yes, you are a great inspiration to us, and we really, really appreciate you. I want to remind everybody, kindly, please follow us on our social media pages. Again, we are BBT Magic Podcast, Instagram, and TikTok. Obviously, we are on both YouTube and Spotify, Bring Back the Magic Podcast, and on Facebook. You guys can reach out to us, direct message us. Anybody that's interacted on social media knows I'm on it. That's one thing I can say about myself as far as my job on this is I am responding to every message. I am interacting with everybody. I am doing the follows, and I really, really do love it. And what you see is what you get with us. I hope you guys know the good, the bad, and the goofy.
Yeah, Gina needs to leave her goofy mode. She's like,
That was
gosh,
from Rihanna.
yeah, I nailed it. I nailed it.
Guys, I know what you're thinking.
Max, you've got to at least have
People
some.
on Spotify think Goofy just walked into the room when I say,
Mickey Mouse.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the impressionist in this family. But anyway, so thank you guys for all
like
that.
I'm nailing it, but whatever.
Thank you. Tell your friends about us too.
If who nailed what?
Like and subscribe. We really need people who are watching. Not everybody's clicking the like. So hey, maybe you don't actually like it, but likes also very much help us. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell your
Make
friends.
sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on Spotify. It's nice to listen over there too because it just goes one after another. You can just go in there, put it on the cart. It's a great thing to listen to while you're going to Disney if you have a long trip.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because I'm on the show, and if I don't believe in it, who will?
Yeah.
So thank you again for everybody joining us. It's been a wonderful episode, as I said. We will definitely see you next time, and please watch your head and step as you exit the podcast. We'll see you then.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.